Shalom, Lord of Christ. Give me one second. Let me put on the speaker.
Shalom, Lord of Christ.
Say something, Hakayan.
Can't. Can't. 1, 2.
Okay, let me know if you can hear the music in the background on my side. Can you hear it?
Can't, sir.
Is it loud?
Not us, sir.
Yeah, I mean, all them Benjamites outside got no chill, man. He's got this, one of the biggest speakers I've ever seen. And
I heard it in someone's class on Monday.
He's got like the big boom box, man. You would think when we pull up, you would think turn it down a little bit. Hold on, I'm gonna go have a word with him in a minute.
Can't.
All right, so this is the ISUPK Wednesday law class. Also, remember to check out Commanding General Yohanna's radio show, which is Monday, 2 a.m. UK time. We also have classes here Monday through Friday. We have classes in the physical school, 394 Lodge Road, B18 5PW. Monday, the history class with Captain Purasha. Tuesday, the brotherhood class with Officer Arya Allah. Wednesday, the law class with myself, Officer Damgabar. Thursday, the scripture breakdown with Officer Karafia. Friday, the Lashram Kodash with Ra'aban. You can catch the Friday class online. So the school's open every Monday to Thursday. We also have the radio show on the ends. We also have camp on Saturday. And this Saturday, they're about to coronate King Charles as king, man. King Charles is about to be king. This Saturday, they're going to coronate him. They're going to parade him through the city. Hold on, give me one second. All right, then. Let me see what I want first. Give me 1 second. Also, any questions, type them in. Any questions, just type them in. We got a feast day, May the 29th. Feast the first fruits. Let me start off with, let me see if I can find the article where they said people must pledge allegiance to King Charles. So let me see. So like I said again.
Like it, sir, if I may. Did you is the Midwest Fire been announced yet? The dates and where it would be?
Midwest Fire in Chicago.
Kilowatt Cancer.
I believe it's been announced. I can't remember what the dates was though.
Okay, Cancer.
It's been announced. I've seen it on Facebook somewhere. Hold on, I'll see if I can pull it up before the end of the class. So now, all we need is the first bit. Give me 1 second. Let me go back on there. So now here,
it's lucky for my camera, sir. It's playing up. I don't know what's going on with it. It's like it's very slow and lagging.
Your internet is lagging.
I believe it is, yeah, but I can still see everything that's going on, but it's just the picturing. Yeah, do you want me to read that? I can read that though.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Can't. The homage of the people will happen after King Charles III had been enthroned.
So now it says the pledge will happen after King Charles III has been enthroned, and we know that his name shouldn't even be King Charles III, man. He ain't related to King Charles II or first.
Right.
He's stealing black identity and black culture and black names, man.
Right.
He's being enthroned on a throne that shouldn't have ever gone to white people, man. These thrones were with black people, man. From the first king of England, from the Anglo-Saxons, man. Those were black kings, man. The Anglo-Saxons and so forth. Once they conquered England, man, they became the kings of England and they branched out to other places. Germany, France, Scotland, Ireland. We was everywhere all throughout the Dark Ages, man. But this world makes out like we was nowhere. This world makes out that we was where in Africa somewhere, and we didn't know who we was, and we've always been a nobody. We the ones that put England in the position that it is today, man. Half the stuff you see in England today is because they copy it from us. All of this stuff with the throne and the crowns, all of this stuff was by black people, man. This crown here, it was made for Charles II, man. This crown was made for Charles II in 1661. It might have been Charles I in 1661. They made this crown for him, man. It was a remake of St. Edward's crown, and that's the crown that they have today. But we're going to get into that later on, so okay, go ahead.
Kadwan Khan. The homage of the people will happen after King Charles III has been enthroned and set in the crown. After the king is enthroned, the Church of England will swear its allegiance.
So it says the Church of England will swear its allegiance. Now, hold on, let me just pull up the definition of what allegiance means. Let's see what they're going to do.
I can do that. Did you want me to do that other one?
Yeah, go ahead. I appreciate if you can pull it up from your side.
Kadwan Khan.
So we're going to pull up the definition of allegiance before we get into the books and stuff.
Allegiance this is on Google. The definition of allegiance is loyalty.
So now they want you to pledge your loyalty to an oppressor, man, to a man who's famous for ruling over nations, man. A man who's famous for being part of the British royal family that killed and sons of the British Empire. They're famous for those things. And now they want you to do what? Pledge your allegiance to him. Pledging your allegiance means what?
Means loyalty.
So now they want you to be loyal to a people that's never been loyal to you, man. Imagine they want you to be loyal to Charles, who's never been loyal to you. So like, give me 1 second.
Kadwan Khan.
Damn, that music's loud, man. Damn, you're gonna have to compromise on something. That music's loud. Listen, the song's good, but that music's loud. Can you still hear it, Hakim?
Kadwan Khan, sir. Quite loud.
Very hold on, give me 1 second. Hey, Shalom, Lord of Christ. Hold on. Give me 1 second. No, too long. All right. So lucky. Go ahead, Hakim. Where was we? Sorry, turn on that speaker for me, quite as well. Is it on? No, you just press it once and it should say aux. So lucky. Go ahead, Hakim. Oh, I think he's dropped out as his thing fell off. All right, I'll read it from here. So it says pledge. It says the homage of the people will happen after King Charles III has been enthroned and set in the crown. After the king is enthroned, the Church of England will swear its allegiance, followed by Prince William. After that, it'll be the people's turn to swear allegiance to the king. So then they're going to want you to pledge your allegiance, man. They're going to want you to say, long live the king, and we support the king in everything he does. They're going to want you to live and die for Charles, man. And they want you to pledge your allegiance. Lucky Quatzal, if I could get me Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 15. And if you know the Bible, it's unlawful for us to have a people over us who's not our people, man. Charles III should never be over us. He's not one of us. He's not of our nation. He don't serve the Lord. He's our enemy, man. We ain't supposed to go pledge allegiance to none of these people, man. We have one king, man, who's Yahushua. We don't have no next king. Especially a devil. He could never be our king, man. That is our oppressor. That's all he is to us, man. The only title that he gets from us is that he is our oppressor, man. He ain't nothing more than that. So okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 17 and 15, verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God
Thou shalt what?
Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose.
It says the only person you're supposed to set king over you is somebody who the Lord chooses, man. And the Lord ain't chose Charles III to be a king, man. Charles III can't be a king. Why? Because he's not of your brethren. That's number one. He's not of your nation. He's not of your bloodline. He can't be your king, man. This throne doesn't rightfully belong to him. They're illegitimate on this throne. They're a German family which descend from a German house, man, from the house of Hanover, man. Once our oppressors started to get back up on their feet, what happened? They started shipping all the black people out of the country, man. They started shipping all the black people out of England, Ireland, and Scotland, and started doing what? These oppressors started getting on their feet. So what did they do? To get rid of all the blackness in the land, they've shipped them off, and they've got their painters and their artists. And what did their artists do? Their artists started whitewashing history, man. They started whitewashing history, and that's why every single time you go on Wikipedia and you type in King James or whatever, there's a picture of a white man there. You go on there, you type in Dub Mac, there's a white man there. You type in Charles I, there's a white man there. You type in Beethoven, there's a white man there. They do all these things, man. Why? Because they had their artists come and whitewash history. So okay, read that from the top quote.
Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose.
Go ahead.
One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
So now it says you shouldn't set a stranger over you.
You're right about the camera, sir.
So like you say that again.
So like I'm just trying to. One second.
Hacky, and just mute your mic. Yeah, there you go. All right. So like I read that again.
No, my laptop. What it is I don't know what it is because I've left it on.
Hacky, can just mute your mic. Oh, hold on, I think I can do it here. Can I do it here? Hacky, can just mute your mic.
Can't, sir.
So go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose.
So listen, the Lord's going to choose a king for us, man. And the Lord chose our king as Yahushua, man. And the king that the Lord gave us a king, man. And the Lord gave us Yahushua and said, we better follow him. And what happened? We didn't want to follow our king, man. Right. We said we have no king but Caesar. That's what we said. If you pledge your allegiance to Charles III, you're saying the same thing they said in the scriptures, man. They said we have no king but Caesar. That's what they said. And you're saying the same thing. Hold on, read on. Let me see if I can get. Let's go way back to the Anglo-Saxons. Go ahead.
One from among thy brethren.
Do what?
One from among thy brethren.
One from among thy brethren, man. Read on.
Shalt thou set king over thee.
One from among your brethren shall you set king over thee. Meaning this has to be a brother of your nation. This has to be a black or Hispanic man. This shouldn't be Charles III. Now, let me see if I can. Hold on. Let me stop sharing this. Let me pull up a picture of let's pull up a picture of Charles III. So this is who they want you to get down with, man. They want you to get down with this man right here. Charles I and Charles II didn't look like this, man. Charles I and Charles II didn't look like this. Now, let's go into, hold on, let me go to the book of John Mackey. Give me 1 second, it's in here somewhere. So now that's Charles III. So now let's read a man that was a spy. He was spying on the Jacobites, man. And why was he spying on them? Because they had lost the throne and they was trying to get the throne back. They had lost the throne and they was trying to get the throne back, man. Hold on, let me go to the page. All right, so hold on. Give me 1 second. All right, read this for me, Quatazar. So now that's Charles III. That's Charles III in that picture. Let's read about Charles II. This is the Secret Services of John Mackey. So read page 36 for me. So this is going to let you know what Charles looked like, man.
Charles Leonard, Duke of Richmond, is son to King Charles
Is what?
II by the Duchess of Portsmouth.
Just check who that is at the door. So now, this is going to let you know about King Charles. Because King Charles was what? A black man, man, according to the Bible. And we're going to read it. We're going to read it. And you're going to see. All right, no, yeah, no, so go ahead. So now, it says, hold on, let me get that book. Give me 1 second. So now let's read this. This says, is son to King Charles II by the Duchess of Portsmouth. He was carried by his mother into France in the reign of King James and left France in the reign of King William when he declared himself for the religion and constitution of his country. Says he is a gentleman, good-natured, to a fault, very well bred, and have many valuable things in him. Is an enemy to buffinals, very credulous, well-shaped, black complexion, much like King Charles. It said this man was black complexion, much like King Charles, man. This is a spy, and the spy's writing down what he sees, man. And he looked at this man, and he said he's black in complexion, much like King Charles. Why? Because people seen King Charles, man. King Charles's nickname was the Black Boy. Why would you call someone who's not black the Black Boy? They called him the Black Boy. Why? Because he was dark-skinned, man. And those dark-skinned people all over Europe. And we're going to get you where the name Stuart comes from. And Robert the Bruce and all of them, man. We're going to get to that. So now let's read this part again. It says, he's a gentleman, good-natured to a fault, very well-bred, and have many valuable things in him. Is an enemy to buffinals, very credulous, well-shaped, black complexion, much like King Charles. So if that's saying King Charles is much like, if it's saying King Charles is black in complexion, let's get a picture of King Charles I according to how they draw them on the internet. Bear with me, give me 1 second. So now, this is what they tell you King Charles looks like. They tell you King Charles looks like this. And imagine being a black man just searching the internet. You're going to believe this is King Charles. And King Charles didn't look like that, man. That's why you have to go to the books. And these books go way back to the 1600s, around the time. These books is written by their contemporaries, man. meaning people that lived amongst them at the same time. So, okay, go ahead. Nah, no, sir, let's read it from here. So let me read that one more time. It says, he's a gentleman, good-natured to a fault, is very well bred, and have many valuable things in him, is an enemy to buffiness, very credulous, well-shaped, black complexion, much like King Charles, man. It says, this is the son to King Charles II, and they're saying King Charles II looked like his father. They're saying King Charles II looked like his father, which was black in complexion. So how did someone black in complexion end up looking like this right here, man? Right. How did someone black in complexion end up looking like Charles III? Something ain't right, man. We've been lied to somewhere. So today we're gonna deal with all them lies, man. So lucky quite as I find that precept where it goes there, the woman help the woman. I think it might be Revelations 12 and 16.
This is Revelations chapter 12 and verse 16. And the earth helped the woman.
And the what?
And the earth helped the woman.
And the earth helped the woman, man. Meaning, how did the earth help the woman? With archaeology, with history, with all of those kind of things, man. Go ahead.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
And the dragon is who? The oppressor of the devil, man. He cast the flood out of his mouth. A flood of what? A flood of lies, man. This image that you see right here is part of the flood that he cast out of his mouth. And then the earth helped the woman by swallowing up that flood of lies and giving us archaeology, by giving us history, by giving us contemporary reports, by giving us old artifacts and all of those things. The earth helped the woman, man. Because this man spewed lies out of his mouth. That water out of his mouth is the lies, man. His paintings, the Renaissance and all of those kind of things. Everything they give you is lies. And the dragon cast these lies out of his mouth. And we need to stop listening to this dragon, man. Because tons of our people have been overtaken by the flood out of this dragon's mouth. And now we have archaeology. Now we know we're the real Jews. Now we have all the history, man. Read on.
And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened their mouth and swallowed up the flood.
And the what?
And swallowed up the flood.
And the earth opened their mouth and swallowed up the flood, man. And what we're doing right here, we're swallowing up this flood right now. When we open these records and show you King Charles was black, we're swallowing up this flood right now. If you've ever sat down with King Charles III, you ask him, yo, how come King Charles I was black and King Charles II was black and you ain't neither, man? How come you don't fit the description of the Stuart family? All day long they say, yeah, we're close relatives to this person and that person. Listen, man, you're from a German family who changed your name to Windsor because England was at war with Germany and you wanted a less German sounding name, man. So there was the House of Windsor. What did you do? Change your surname to Windsor, man. When your surname was not Windsor, you started off at the House of Hanover with George I. Hold on, give me 1 second. You started off at the House of Hanover with George I and all the way down, man, to George VI and Queen Elizabeth II and all of those things, man. That's their beginning. Hold on, let me get the next page in this book. Actually, read this from
lucky another one.
So now this is in the same book, page 40.
Page 40. Charles, Duke of St. Albans, is King Charles II by Mrs. Gwynn, was made by King Williams, once of the bedchamber and captain of the band of pensioners.
Go ahead.
And fed by the King of France. To congratulate the marriage of the Duke of Burgundy, he was a gentleman in every way, divine, natural, well bred, doth not love buffiness, is well affected to the constitution of his country. He is of a black complexion.
He's of a what?
He's of a black complexion.
Listen, man, it's letting you know what these men's complexion was. It says he was of a black complexion, and that can't be King Charles, man. Go ahead.
Not too tall as the Duke of Northumberland, yet very like King Charles.
Yet what?
But yet very like King Charles.
And it's saying these men all look like King Charles. Why? Because there was family, man. There was all Jacobites, man. There was family. Now, was there some Edomite Jacobites? Yeah, there was, because Jacobite back then just meant the followers of King James VII. They wanted, obviously James means Jacob. They wanted him back on the throne. So they wanted James VII back on the throne, but obviously he didn't get the throne back. So instead of them calling him James VII, because he would have been the seventh king to rule over Scotland and the second king James to rule over England, they called him James the Pretender. So everywhere you see James the Pretender, you know it's talking about James VII. So what they done is, because they didn't give him the throne, they said he's pretending that he owned that he's a pretend king basically, and they called him James the Pretender. Now here is a more accurate picture of what Charles I looks like. Hold on, put this picture in front of the camera quite as well. So now, look at the one on the screen before I take it down. That's the one on the screen. And then if you look at this one here, this one, you can see that it's got more blackness and black features. And then if you read the title underneath, it will let you know. Hold on, let me just stop sharing this.
So like here, sir, if I may.
Put this one there. So now, that's a more proper depiction of Charles I. Look at the black curly hair, man. There ain't no white man's hair. And look at the features.
Oh.
That is a better depiction. Now read underneath the image what it says. So this is another book called King Charles II. So as I read under the image, there's writing under there.
Says the black boy.
Wait, it says what?
The black boy.
The what?
The black boy.
Now why would they call him the black boy? Because he was black, man.
Right.
And that was his nickname, the Black Boy. And that's why there's so much pubs in England called what? The Black Boy's Arms, Black Boy Street, Black Boy this. All of these things is named after King Charles II. All of these things is named after King Charles II. Now, recently, black people did what? Hold on, let me see if I can find the article where they got rid of the road. Now you can stop showing it. Nothing. So now they got rid of the road. Why? Because they said it's racist. They said no road should be called the Black Boy. Now, if they would have just done a little research or rapped with us in these classes, they would have realized that what? The Black Boy is paying homage to King Charles, man. All these pubs where you see the Black Boy outside, people think these statues outside the pubs is racism. It's not racism, man. Those Black Boys are there because of King Charles. So hold on. Let me see if I can just type in the Black Boy pub and see what comes up. The Black Boy pub. Let me see if something comes up. See, and the press is so slick, man. It's so slick, and this is how you know. He like that presser, he knows exactly what he's doing. So here is an image right here. Now they've used the white depiction of King Charles, and they've named it the Black Boy. Why wouldn't they just use the rightful picture, man? Like the half telling the truth and half lying, because they know that people are just going to see the white boy there and think, okay, it says the Black Boy. It's nothing to do with black people. They used to have these little statues there. If you go places like Blackpool, you see a lot of them because they got tons of things like Blackpool. All of these things is named after black people, man. All these places, man. Dublin, all these places. Why? Because black people was there. But England obviously don't want you to know that. So what do? They lie to you now and tell you that they tell you that Dublin means Blackpool. That's what they tell you. They tell you that if you type in the definition of Dublin right now, they will tell you that Dublin means Blackpool. Whereas when you go through the records in the book, it will tell you that Dublin means what? It was called Dublin because Dub comes from the word black. Dub means black. And there's so much black people there. This capital was called Dublin. But nowadays, they will tell you that it's called Dublin because it's a Blackpool. Hold on one sec. Let me type in the definition of Dublin. I bet you it says because there's a pool there called Black. Hold on.
Salakia, sir.
Let me see if I can get the right one.
Can you hear me, sir? Salakia.
So now, if you go to Google and you try and find out what Dublin really means, this is what you're gonna get. So now it says here, the English name for the city is derived from the Irish name Dublin, meaning Blackpool. So now, there was a pool of niggas there, man. That's what it was, a pool of niggas there, man. And now they twist it and make you believe, yeah, there was some water that was black, so it was called Dublin. So you mean to say they named the capital Dublin because there was just a pool there that was black? This is how they lie to you, man. It was called Dublin because loads of dubs was there, and dub means black, man. That's what dub means. Dub means black. Hold on, let me see if I can get that in the dictionary. Hold on, give me 1 second. Salakia Hakian, your phone's on mute, I believe. Wait, so Hakian, I think your phone's on mute. Salakia, I could see your mouth moving. Was you saying something? You no, I mean, yeah, your phone. Let me. You have to unmute your mic.
Yeah, must.
Salakia, say something, Hakian.
Salakia said my mic is messing up. Salakia, my mic and my camera just keep doing its own thing. I think I left the computer on, and it's kind of it's doing its own stuff, lagging and stuff. Can you hear me?
Salakia, yeah, I can hear you, Tawab.
Can't.
What am I sounding like?
Yeah, you're sounding clear, sir.
I'm sounding clear. All right,
yeah, can't. I don't think it's your side of the one. I think it's my side, sir.
My side. All right, well, let's just rock with it and see how it goes.
All right then.
As soon as it gets choppy, just let me know.
Come on, sir.
Hold on, let me just find what I'm looking for. Hold on, let me see if it's good. All right, so this might be the one I want. Hold on. Let me see what page you want. All right. So let me go to. So now we were saying that, like I was saying that dub means black, right?
Can't.
So I was saying that dub means black. So hold on, I got it right here. Also, duff means black. So when you hear Irish people call themselves Duff and Duffy and Devlin and all of these things, these names was named after black people. Right. All the names, Dub, Duffy, Devlin, all these things mean black. So I got it right here. This book is called The Family Names from the Irish, Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Norman, and Scotch. Just show a picture of the book, Quatazar, and then read the names. So that's the book. Go ahead.
Dove, pronounced doublet, or dove, black.
Wait, it means what?
Black.
It means what?
Black.
So what do you say? Dove means what? Black.
Black.
Read that from the top.
Dove.
So Duff. So now a lot of Irish people have the name Duff and Duffy, and those names don't belong to them. These names belong to us. Why? Because we named them after our complexion, man. Right. Now, based on your complexion, they would call you names, man. You'd have the name like Brun, Brown, Bennett, Benedict. All of these names was based off complexion. Then you would have Dove, Dub, Duffy, Swart, Stuart. And then obviously what you find is the word Swart eventually became Stuart and so forth. And Swart, we're going to get what that means as well. So all of these terms meant black. King James' surname meant black because what? They was black people, man. They was black people. Go ahead. Down to the Anglo-Saxons, man. The Anglo-Saxons used to say that there was the sons of Isaac. They used to say that they're the sons of Isaac, man. And that's why you have Saxon, meaning Sax, sons. Now, if you look at it, there's a part where it lets you know the spot, it's Sakaya or whatnot. And it let you know these was Isaac's sons, man. There's history where it lets you know they used to call themselves that. Now, There's some of the Anglo-Saxons which trace their lineage all the way back. They went all the way back to Shem, man. They went all the way back to Shem. They traced their lineage back to Shem and all of those, man. Because they knew who there was before the oppressor came and took our culture and everything from us. They knew there was Israelites, man. They knew who there was. Hold on, let me see. Let me see what I want. Also, any questions, just type them in and we'll get to them. Hold on. Read that one more time.
Dub,
Sure.
dub, pronounced double.
Wait, dub pronounced what?
Double.
Let me see what it says. Dub what? Let me see if this is the right one. Yeah, dub. Yeah, read that again. So it's letting you know what dub means. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up pull it on the screen share. Wait, how did you spell it on there? Quasar for dub.
D-U-B.
Yeah, is that how to spell it?
Let me say it's pronounced D-U-B-H.
All right, let me see if I can get the meaning.
Salaki, sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear it to Wab.
I want to ask a question, if it's possible.
Yeah, that's to Wab. Go ahead.
Yeah. Why would they cover up that that King Charles was black, if I may?
Why would they cover up that King Charles was black?
Khan.
Because like with all great people, if you knew that King Charles was a black man like you, and how the throne really belongs to black people, then you would be like, you know what? Something ain't right. Something ain't right with us. So they have to make everybody white, man, to keep us confused. And what did they do? They got artists and all of these things to paint over all the pictures, man, to paint all of them white. And then that way it hides who we are and our identity. Because if we knew that King James was a Jew, an Israelite, then you'd be like, you know what? There's great people in my nation who I can strive to be like. They can't have that. They can only give you nobodies in your nation. All they show you is boys in the hood and menace to society. And that's the greatest people in your nation. Came from menace to society. They just give us things like that. Because if they would have told us King James is black, guess what would happen? More black people would be like, wow, the Bible's not a white man's book because King James was a black king that sat on the throne. So they believe King James is a white man and he translated the Bible. So that's what they believe. And obviously, if you're trying to be pro-black and all the people that you see are white, that's going to make you distance yourself from all of them. So now black people did what? Distance themselves from the Bible because why? All the pictures that they see associated with the Bible are white. The same reason they made Jesus Christ white. They just like to make all great black things white. Ain't allowed to have no greatness. So what do they do? Paint over it. And then that way they give you pictures because they know pictures speak 1,000 words. And that's why they give you all these images, white baby Jesus, white Mary, white Joseph, everything is white. And then they teach you that they're the children of God and you must serve them. And the reason they paint all these white images white is why? So you can pledge allegiance to King Charles this Saturday. So you can go bow down and worship King Charles III this Saturday. Instead of you saying the real King Charles is black, they would rather hide it. Because if you knew the real King Charles was black, then you wouldn't pledge allegiance to King Charles III this Saturday. So they have to hide all of this stuff and try and lie on history and try and tell you, oh, all these books that you're reading from the 1600s is all folklore and all of these kind of things. So they sweep it under the rug. All right, I got a meaning of here. So okay, go ahead, Hakim.
Well, wilder for that, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, no sir. All right, now let me get All right, so now let me know if you can read this from the screen from the screen, Hakim.
Can count, sir?
Go ahead.
Blackness. Dub.
Wait, dub means what?
Blackness.
Dub means blackness and darkness, man. All the typing was dub meaning. Even on the internet, it lets you know it means black and darkness. Because that's what dub means. That's how they used to speak. Dub meant black. And that's why the capital of Ireland is called Dublin. That's why they had surnames like Dub, Duffy, and all of those kind of things. Because it's black names. Read what you're holding, Quasar.
Dove. Dove. Pronounced dove. Or dove. Black.
Means what?
Black.
It means black. Go ahead. Is there any more?
Duffy. Dove. Black.
Duffy and dub means black. Now let me see. Let me get the Duffy meaning. Let's see what Duffy means. This says what is the name? Duffy.
What?
So lucky. Go ahead again.
You want me to read it, sir?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Descendant of Duffic. It's Khan Salaki. Descendants of Duffic. What is the meaning of the name Duffy? The name Duffy is primarily a gender-neutral name of Irish origin that means descendant of Duffic. Salakia. That there, boy.
Irish names, are
Salakia. Irish name contracted from Old Duffig, meaning descendant of grandson of Duffy.
See, and this is what they tell you that Duffy means. Now, Quatazar, read what Duffy means from there.
Duffy. Dope. Black.
So Duffy means black, but when you go on the internet, they give you a whole different meaning. They tell you the meaning of Duffy means a gender-neutral name of Irish origin that means descendant of. It doesn't mean that, man. It means black. Unless it's saying unless Duffic is black people, that's the only way it could mean what they're saying it means. Because Duffy means black. But like I said, when you go on the internet and you type in these things, they give you some garbage, man. They give you some garbage and some lies. Is there any more on that, Quatazar?
Right. An individual, a black person.
A what?
A black person.
Dub means a black person, man. Dub means a black person. That's what dub means. Dub was a black person. Slucky, go ahead. Is there any more on that?
Nah, that's it.
All right, Pat, I think there's a next page. Let me find it. So that's what dub means, a black person. Hold on. So now read this. This is page 23 in the same book.
Diva.
So now this is another name, Diva. Go ahead.
Originally, Dweeva. From dove, black.
Wait, it means what?
From dove, black.
It means from dub, it means black. Go ahead.
Man. A dark complexion.
It means a dub means a black man of dark complexion. Go ahead.
A dark complexion, man.
A dark complexion, man. That's what dub means, man. Hold on, I'm trying to find something else in this book, but I can't seem to find it. Hold on. All right, so now dub means what? A dark skinned black man, a man of dark complexion. Is there any more on that? Yeah, go ahead.
Devlin, dove.
And Devlin means what?
Dove.
Devlin also means dub. Anyone with the surname Devlin, originally that surname meant black because Devlin means dub and dub means black. Go ahead.
Black.
Yeah, and it's letting you know, dub and Devlin all mean the same thing. They mean black. Go ahead.
Lid. A marsh, a swamp.
So now they're saying it means a marsh and a swamp. Go ahead, but really we know it means black. That's just giving you other definitions of what it means. That's it. All right, give me. Hold this one for me. Now this is another book. This is called An American Dictionary of the English Language. So that's an American Dictionary of the English Language. Hold on, let me see which one. Let me see for one. Hold on. All right, so hold on. Yeah, go ahead. Read what you're holding.
Swat.
So now, Now this word is swart. So everybody knows swarthy comes from black. Everyone knows swarthy means black and swart means black. So the name, they called it different things, obviously, depending on where you go. In German, they put a V in there. Obviously, in England, they would call it swart. Over time, it changed to Stuart. So swart and all of these things, the name just derived over time. So Slakia, go ahead, read that.
To make the way brown.
Wait, hold on. What? Let me see if I can pull it up in here. What's the word you're reading?
Swart.
Swart. All right, let's see the swart. Let's see the meaning of swart. Okay, let me go on StreamYard. So now, go ahead, again.
Like you said, sorry to interrupt you. Is that? Can you spell swap, please, if you could?
Yeah. So swart, SWART.
Can't, sir.
Have you? Is that the spelling of the one that you're holding right there as well, Quaza?
Yeah.
So it's SWART as well.
Yeah.
All right, then. So this it's on the screen. So so when you look up swarthy, here it says similar. It says dark colored, dark skinned, dark complexion, dusky, tanned, black, saturnine, olive skinned, sallow. So whenever these people tell you Jesus Christ was olive skinned, they're saying he was swart, man. They were saying he was black. Don't let the listen, man. Don't believe him when they say he was his color was Middle Eastern. Jesus Christ was a black man, man.
Right.
Now. Hold on, let me go up. So now it says swart. Let me see if it plays the pronunciation.
Swart.
Yeah, did you hear that, Hakian?
Kadawan Cancer.
So this is how they would pronounce it, like this.
Swart.
So they'd say swart.
Right.
Swart.
So they would say swart, and over time that name changed to Stuart. Swart, Stuart. Listen, man. They was named after Swart, man. Hold on, let's this is how you pronounce it. Hold on.
Swart.
So now they at first it was swart, and then it was swarthy. Hold on. Let me get swarthy. Hold on. Hold on. Read what you're holding, quite as well. But wait, hold on. Let me just screen share this one as well. So swarthy. Can you? So now this is how they pronounce swarthy.
Swarthy.
So swarthy.
Swarthy. Swarthy.
And it says it's an adjective, and it means dark complexioned, man. So read what you're holding, quite as well.
Swart. To make the way brown.
What?
Brown.
Swart means brown, man. That's what it means. And the original royal family was brown. And we're going to get to how King James and them was black in a minute, man. We've already got to how King Charles was black. Now we're going to get to how the Stuart family was black. So like you read that again, Quaza.
Swarthy.
So now you got swarthy. What does it say for swarthy?
An apparel term.
So I can say that again.
An apparel term.
Yeah, go ahead.
Swarthily.
And swarthy means what?
Dunkily.
Go ahead.
With.
Wallet, is that right in small? Because the wallet is that's a reprint of an old dictionary. So you see if you get the proper one, it was like $3,000 for the proper one. So the best I could get was the reprint. So lucky. That's it. Until I become rich, I can't get the proper one. there you go.
With a two-way hole, swarthiness, tawiness, a dusky complexion.
Swarthiness and tawiness. Now let's see what tawi means. Let's see what tawiness means, because this is giving you all different words. So let's go through them one by one. Hold on, they spell it like this, right? Is that how they spell it? TAWN.
INESS.
Like this.
No.
So like how they spell it?
Oh, yeah, E-double-F.
So it's tallness.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So now we looked up tallness, or how you pronounce it. We'll find out how to pronounce it when we go on the thing. So now it says
Tawny.
says tawny. So in the dictionary it said tawniness. So tawny is the same
Tawny.
thing. So
Tawny.
it says tawny is of an orange brown or yellowish brown color. So now a brother that would have been a more lighter tone of brown, they would have said he's tawny. So a brother that's a lighter tone of brown, they would have said he was tawny. This is how they pronounced it.
Tawny.
So listen, you were just in a light skinned brother, and you would have said
Tawny.
you would have said Salakia. You're just in a light skinned brother, and you would have said tawny. What's the next one on there? Did it have duskiness? What was the next one?
Swarthy. Being of a dark hue or dusky.
So tawniness is being of a dark hue. Now let's see what hue is, because the oppressor. We're gonna go through this in baby steps. So we're gonna go through this in baby steps, so nobody can say we're making these things up. So it says tawny and all these things, and it says the hue. So now we're gonna get the definition of what hue is. It says hue is what? A color or shade. So now the brother's color, when it said it was tawny, he would have been a light-skinned brown man. His color was tawny.
Hue.
And that's how you pronounce it. Read what else it says duskiness as well. What was the next one you had? After tawniness, what was the next one?
Swarthy.
We're gone over
Make
that.
swarthy or donkey to blacken.
It means to blacken, man. All these names referred to black people, and what we're reading is out of an 1800 dictionary. So, Lucky, what year is that dictionary? Does it tell you at the front? I believe it might be 1600, 1700 dictionary. One of them is 1600 dictionary anyway. I can't remember which one it is. But that was the definition of the words. So now, sometimes you'll be looking for ancient words in a revised modern day dictionary. Over time, they change the meaning of words. So what you would need to do is, the words you're looking at, if it's an old word, you'd have to find out what it meant in an old dictionary. That's why when you go to these new dictionaries, you can't find the meaning of old words, because why? You're looking in a new dictionary for an old word that's probably not even used no more. So, Lucky, what was the next one? Next one, was it what? Duskiness.
Swarthy. To make swarthy or donkey to blacken.
To blacken, man. Go ahead.
Swartiness.
Swartiness. Nowadays, swart is what? Somebody big, right? Nowadays, they use the word, Jamaicans use the word swarty for somebody big. So, Lucky, go ahead.
A tawny color.
Is that the same word that we just went over? The tawny color? Yeah, no, it's no. Go ahead.
A tawny color shot. I can't see that.
No, sir.
Swartish, somewhat dark.
Swartish means somewhat dark, or what?
Or tawny.
Or tawny. And the dark and tawny means someone that was a lighter complexion of brown but still black. Is there anything else in there? Or
swarty. A swarty tawny. Better.
And now, over time, the meaning of that word changed. So let's see what the word means in, I think this is in German. So over time, they changed the meaning of the word to, so now it was swart, and then now even they know in places like Germany and whatnot, they know, because this is what the word means, the same thing. So now they call it, is it Scots? So this is how they spell it in I believe it's Germany. So now that's how they spell it, SCHVARTZE, and the meaning means a black person. Why? Because that's the same word that comes from swart, that comes from swarthy, that comes from all the other definitions that we got. All them words come from the same thing. And originally that name meant Swat and Swafi, and then it changed to Stuart, man. That's what it changed to. Hold on, let me go back because I think this is. Let me see if this is the German meaning. Yiddish. Yeah, Yiddish. A term used by some Jewish people to refer to a black person. So listen, man. This is what the Jewish people call black people. Let me see if I can get how they pronounce it. That's who it is. It's Jewish people that refer to black people as. And what they're really saying is swat, swavi, not realizing half the words that they call us when they think they're dissing us. You're letting us do some research on these words. And once we do this research, we find out that King James is black, man. We find out that you call us swath and swat. And we find out the greatest people on the earth was called that, man. We find out the people that set England up to what it is today is called the same things. So this is what Jewish people call us. It says often disparaging. And now obviously this word, it derived from swat, from swavi. So what they do is they use words that you don't like. And then you think it's racist, not realizing when they call you some of these words, they think it's derogatory. But no. We named ourselves after our complexion, man. We named ourselves after our complexion. And this is what the Jewish man calls us. And this word comes from swat, suavely, and suave. And over time, first it just meant black names that we gave to ourselves. And then over time, the oppressor used it and made it a derogatory thing. But really, it's not derogatory. It's names that we gave to ourselves. Just obviously the pronunciation and the translation in it changed. So I can stop sharing that now. Hold on, let me get. This is. Yeah, pass that one and read this. Read this one for me. This is a book called. Hold on, let me just fix the cover. This right here is a book called Scottish Clans. So this book is called The Little Book of Scottish Clans. So now there's tons of different clans in Scotland, meaning families. And then we're going to read about the Douglas family. Douglas also means black, by the way. So if your surname's Douglas, your surname meant black. So read that for me where it says Douglas. So now this is going to let you know that. So this is the book. It's called The Little Book of Scottish Clans. I believe this is page 16. So it goes into Douglas.
Douglas, no single family apart from the Stuarts has
No single family apart from who?
Apart from the Stuarts.
It says no single family apart from the Stuarts. And that Stuart word comes from swat and swavi. So over time, words change. Like Brown changed into whatever, Bennett or whatever. All them names changed. Brun turned into Brown and all of those kind of things. Over time, names change. So I can go ahead.
Has contributed so much to the course of Scottish history.
And now they said the Stuart family, nobody's contributed more to Scottish history than the Stuart family. Go ahead.
As that of Douglas, William de Douglas lived at the end of the 12th century. His younger son Andrew was ancestor of the Earls of Morton, of whom James Douglas, 1525 to 81. Fourth Earl, by virtue of his marriage to his predecessor's daughter, was the infamous Regent Morton during the boyhood of King James VI, who finally had him beheaded for his part in the murder of Lord Darnley.
So obviously his King James' father was Lord Darnley. His father was an Israelite also. His mother, Mary of Scots, apparently she got King James' father killed. And apparently the man that killed King James' father, she then married that man. And then after that, because the Scottish people was mad with her, what did they do? She had to be exiled and she ran to England. So when she ran to England, she was basically in England and she was Catholic because she was from Scotland. So they was Catholic and most of the people in England was Protestant at the time. So you had Catholics versus Protestants. They was at war with one another. So now she ran to England because why? Queen Elizabeth was her cousin, man. The first Elizabeth, Henry VIII's daughter, was her cousin. And one was Protestant, one was Catholic. Now, obviously, over time, her noblemen under Queen Elizabeth persuaded her to behead Mary. Now, people get Mary, Queen of Scots, mixed up with Bloody Mary. Obviously, they call her Bloody Mary. Why? Because so much Protestants was slaughtered under her, under Henry VIII's daughter that died having no children. So she was in charge before the throne was given to Elizabeth. She died having no children. After that was Queen Elizabeth. She died having no children. And then that was the end of the Tudor house, which was the Henry VIII and the Tudor family. That was the end of their house. And then after the end of their house, they passed the throne to their closest heir, because Henry VIII's sister, Margaret Tudor, she married James IV. So then when they went back up the line trying to find the closest heir was King James. At that time, King James was already King of Scotland for 36 years. And then that's how he began. No, and Henry VIII was already the king over Ireland. So once King James became king over England, Ireland came with it. And he already had Scotland. And then he united 3 thrones, man. Because if you know anything before about England and Scotland, they used to fight all the time. They had the what's that war called? Battenberg. Have you heard of it? The War of Battenberg, where it was England versus Scotland with Robert the Bruce, who was a Scottish king, versus I believe Edward II and III, who was kings over England. Because obviously they've always tried to fight and unite these kingdoms, and it was never united. And it was united under a black man called King James, man. So read on in the rest of that.
The eldest son of William, Sir William Douglas, was father of good Sir James, 1286 to 1330, who was the right-hand man of King Robert.
And he was the right-hand man of King Robert the Bruce. Now, this man was called the Black Douglas, and this man was a warrior, man. I think they even made a movie about him, the Braveheart. Have you watched it? I've never watched it, but that Braveheart movie, you watched it, Hakim?
Karan Khan, sir.
Is it a good movie? I ain't really
Tawab,
seen it.
yeah, Tawab is a good movie, sir.
And it's about what? The Black Douglas, or did they just call him Robert Douglas in there, or whatever?
They call him William
Douglas.
No, they call him Mel Gibson. Salaki, I'll just have a look at it, sir. What they actually call him.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I've watched it years ago, but I can't remember it.
Salaki, what's the film again, sir? It's called
Braveheart.
Braveheart. That's right. William Wallace. That's right.
And what's his name there? Quatzar? Is his name William what? William Douglas.
William Douglas.
And when you watch that movie, did you know that the Braveheart in there is supposed to be a black man?
I didn't know that, sir.
See, they've got devils playing the movies, and that's part of the brainwashing. Because if you knew that William Douglas was a warrior, you would look at your skin, you would look at your hands and say, damn, well, I'm the same as him. Maybe I could be a warrior like him. You would look at Jesus Christ and say, damn, Jesus Christ was perfect. Maybe I could be perfect like him. But they have to hide all these things in images so you don't ever be perfect, man. So you don't ever be righteous. And William Douglas was what? Robert the Bruce's right-hand man. And what did they do? They whooped the British, man. They whooped England, man. I can't even call it Britain because obviously it was just England at the time, because obviously Great Britain is all of them united, the United Kingdoms. So they beat England, man, at the battle, the Battle of Battenberg, man. I believe that's. Hold on, let me see if it's Battle of Battenberg. Give me 1 second.
So like it, sir, if I may.
Go ahead. Lucky it's not Battenberg, it must be. So Lucky, go ahead.
So Lucky, are you saying that they've actually changed William Douglas to William Wallace?
Look, I'd probably used a different name, but I'm saying William Douglas in the movie it's supposed to be a black man, because in real life it was a black man. So what they've done is they've casted a white character when they could have just put the color of the real man in the movie. So what they've done is they've put an Edomite in there, and you're going to watch that and believe the Edomite is there. What did they call him? The Lionheart? Was that his name?
Brave.
Which one's the Lionheart? I think one was called the Braveheart, one was called the Lionheart. The Lionheart might have been Edward II, who was obviously his enemy at the time. I'm trying to find out what this battle was, because they had a battle. They had a battle in They had a battle in. It might hold on, but it might be Bannockburn.
I can read this if you like to.
Go ahead.
Says William Wallace, a Scottish rebel, along with his clan, sets out to battle King Edward the First of England.
And that's exactly what happened, man. They set out to battle. Why? Because what did King Edward do? King Edward, he made hold on, let me find out what he tried to do. He tried to turn Scotland into a vassal state. So what was meant to happen with there was a woman, she was meant to be Queen of Scotland, her name was Margaret. She was meant to be Queen of Scotland, and she was meant to marry Edward's son. So by default, that would have united Scotland and England a long time ago. Obviously, it didn't go to plan. The wedding didn't happen. Edward tried to declare war on Scotland. He then went to Battenberg or Bannockburn. He then went there, and then that's what it's about. So then what happened? Robert the Bruce and his army came out to defend Scotland because he claimed it as a vassal state. So let's get the definition of a vassal state. But listen, England and Scotland, they was at war before what? King James united the kingdoms. Because why? How did James the Fourth die? James the Fourth died. He died in a battle against England, man. I'm sure he got an arrow through his neck or through his face. I'll see if that's the case after. Give me 1 second. Let me just type in vassal state. So now he tried to turn it into a vassal state. Scotland weren't having it. And then they had the Battle of Battenberg. So now here it says a vassal state is a state that is subordinate to another state or empire. The vassal is the ruler who has a mutual obligation to the superior state. And they wanted Scotland to bow down to them because they believed they had more power and they were superior to Scotland. Robert the Bruce had warriors under his wing, man. He had brave hearts and he had warriors under his wing. The Black Douglases, who's a Scottish family, and the Black Douglases was skilled in war. So then they won that war. So it says, is the ruler who has a mutual obligation to the superior state, such as providing military assistance or paying tribute. They wanted them to pay tribute because obviously the marriage didn't work and the kingdoms wasn't united. So they said, okay, then at best, they're going to be a vassal state. Vassal states were common in ancient and medieval times, especially in the Near East and China. So this was around they would call it like the Dark Ages, the medieval times. So what was you reading?
I was reading. It's gone now.
So I can press that quite. So let me see which part I want.
It just said here, significant Scots William Douglas, Knight of Liddesdale, otherwise well known in Scottish history by the hunger and thirst at the last, compelled these brave.
You know what? I might watch that movie tonight. I might give it a watch tonight. But yeah, so the man that acted in Braveheart, in real life he was a black man, and we're about to read it. So read that Douglas part, Quattazar.
Douglas was a father of good Sir James, 1286 to 1330. He was the right-hand man of King Robert, I the Bruce, at the Battle of Bannockburn.
That's the battle. The battle was Bannockburn, when obviously the Black Douglases beat England, man, pushed them back in the battle. Go ahead.
In 1314 and after it, he was called the Black Douglas.
He was called the what?
He was called the Black Douglas.
He was called the what?
He was called the Black Douglas.
And they called him the Black Douglas. Why did they call him the Black Douglas? Go ahead.
For his complexion.
For his what?
For his complexion.
He was called the Black Douglas for his complexion. Now let's type in the Black Douglas. Let's see if it gives us the right thing.
The Black Douglas.
According to Wikipedia, Sir.
To like you, sir.
Hold on. Let's see if there's a picture of the Black Douglas. And now here's a Black Douglas illustrated edition. Hold on. So this is how they lie to us, man. Can you see the image on there? Hold on, let me see if I can zoom in.
Yeah, I can see that. Right.
So now that's the image of the Black Douglas. Now read the Black Douglas part again, Quatazar.
He was called the Black Douglas.
He was called the Black Douglas. Why was he called the Black Douglas?
From his complexion.
From his what?
From his complexion.
He was called the Black Douglas because of his complexion, man. And
Right.
when we look at these images, this don't look like this man has a black complexion to me.
Can't.
So much that when we watch the movie Braveheart, we don't know it's black people in the movie. Because they lie to us, man.
Mm.
They lie to us, man. And this is why the Bible says they're the devil the Bible speaks of, man.
That's right.
This is why it says this in the Bible, man. Because
Mhm.
they lied to us. He was called the Black Douglas because of his complexion. And when I look at this don't look like the Black Douglas, man. Tons of the men from Scotland was black. Hold on, let me prove it. Let me get my let me get what the Anglo-Saxon race look like. So Lucky, go ahead.
So like yourself, I've got a little bit here if you like.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can't. He was now one of the king's greatest supporters and a model of chivalry, but James had black hair and a reputation so feared by the English, they named him the Black Douglas.
Listen, man. They named him the Black Douglas, and what did that say? He just had black hair.
Can't, sir.
See, and they're twisting things, man. They're gonna say he was called the Black Douglas because he had black hair. Listen, most people I know have black hair, and you don't call them black because of their hair. This is how they twist things, man.
That's
They said
right.
because he was feared, they called him the Black Douglas. So what they're saying, black people scary and what? Listen, man. These oppressors, they know how to twist things, and they've cast the flood out of their mouth. And we have the archaeology to prove that he was called the Black Douglas because of his complexion, man. Read that one more time, Quatazar.
If I may, sir, what book is that, sir? If I may,
The one with the Black Douglas.
the one that Officer Quatazar is reading, sir.
That is called, what's the name of the book, Quatazar?
The little books of Scottish clans.
So that's the little books of Scottish clans. So all the clans, meaning the families of Scotland, it's got a little bit about all the families in there, of which one of them was kings, what they look like, who their families are, who their descendants are. So that will let you know, obviously, who's who.
Can't. Toward, sir.
No sweat. So now here I'm in another book. This is called Origin of the Anglo-Saxon Race. So here it says, this is a possible explanation and the one which appears to be the most natural, as there are some difficulties in this conclusion. The question arises, is there any other way in which the origin of these mixed brown people surrounded by others of somewhat fairer complexion can be explained? An alternative explanation is that people of a darker race may have come with the Angles, the Saxons, or Danes, and have settled largely in these parts of the country. There is circumstantial evidence that people of a brown or dark complexion did come into England during the time of both the Saxon and the Danish settlements. Listen, man, that's when we came into England, man. We came into England, man, and it's letting you know a dark-skinned race came into England, and it was us. Hold on, let me find some more. So now let's read this about the surname Brown. It says, this consideration of the probable origin of the great proportion of brunettes. Now, obviously, we got a tape on YouTube where we go into brunette, where it comes from the word brun. It comes from the word brown. Brunette back then meant dark skin complexion. Hold on, let me just pull up the definition. A brunette ain't a white woman with brown hair. Hold on, let me stop sharing this. A brunette ain't a white woman with brown hair. Let's go to brunette 1600 definition. Let's see what it gives us. So now a brunette ain't what a woman with brown hair. We're going to prove it. We're going to go into the etymology of the word brunette. So it says brunette, of a woman, dark in complexion, having a brownish tone to the skin and hair. 1660s from French brunette, femme of brunette, from Old French brunette, brownish, brown-haired, dark complexioned, diminutive of brown. So now, a brunette was someone with a dark complexion. So now let's read the next part as a noun. Woman with dark hair and eyes and of a dark complexion from 1710. The metaphysized form Old French brunette is the source of the surname Bernet. Bernet also was used of a wool-dyed cloth of superior quality, originally dark brown. So these surnames mean the same thing. Brunette, brown, Bernet, all the names that black people have. If you had any of them surnames, your surname was based off your complexion. So now let's go back to what we was reading, where it mentions brunette. It says this consideration of the probable origin of the great proportion of brunettes in two of the South Midland counties of England leads us to that of color names as surnames. So the said color names says and place names which may probably have been derived from their original settlers. For example, there is the common name Brown. This has been derived from the Anglo-Saxon Brun. So the surname Brown comes from the Anglo-Saxon word Brun. Back then, if your name was Brun, over time your name became Brown, because in Anglo-Saxon language, Old English and whatnot, the word Brun means brown. They signifying brown. It is not reasonable to doubt that when our forefathers called a man Brun or brown, they gave him this name as descriptive of his brown complexion. So the surname Brown came from your brown complexion. Says the probability that the brunettes were common is supported by the frequent references to persons named Brun in Anglo-Saxon literature. So before they called you brunette, they would call you Brun. Brun was a name not confined to England. In the Anglo-Saxon and later periods, on the contrary, we find that it was a common name in ancient Germany. The typical place name Bruningefeld occurs in the charter of Ethelstan dated AD 938. Now, Ethelstan is one of the first Anglo-Saxon kings. In local, you're going to wonder, why is this in Germany? Why? Because black people was in Germany too, man. That's where Beethoven was. I believe Beethoven was in Germany, if I'm correct. Beethoven was a black man from Germany, man. Because why? Beethoven had contemporaries that wrote, a woman wrote about Beethoven, and she said he was short with a wide nose and dark-skinned, man. Beethoven was black too. You see all the medleys you hear on the keyboard? That came from black people, man. If I had the book with me today, I would have went into it, but I didn't even bring the book today. Says the Brunsham Hans is mentioned in a charter of Edward the Elder about AD 900. Brunsford is another suggestive name. Brunman is mentioned as a personal name in Anglo-Saxon records of the 11th century, and examples of the name Brunning are somewhat numerous in documents of the same period. So around the same period, they had all these names based on their complexion. At the present time, old place names of which the word Braun forms the chief part, such as Braunschweig or Brunswick, are common in Germany. The custom of calling people by color names from their personal appearance or places after them was clearly not peculiar to our own country. It is probable that the name Brunswick was derived from the brown complexion of its original inhabitants. The map published by Ripley, based on the official ethnological survey of Germany, shows that parts of the country near Brunswick have a higher percentage of brunettes than the district 4 further north. Beddoe also made observations on the number of Brunswick peasantry and records some remarkable facts relating to the proportion of brunettes among those who came under his observation. So now they had the name, the name cities after the people whose complexion was in those cities. Hold on, let me see what else I want. So now we're gonna go in. Now here it's gonna go into the word swarth again. Says there is another old word used by the Anglo-Saxons to denote black or brown. Black. The word swert, the personal names Suart and Suet meaning Stuart, man. Names Stuart and Stuart. So these words, it's letting you know that Swart later on changed to Stuart and Stuart. And it says may have been derived from this word and may have originally denoted people of a dark brown or black complexion. Listen, man. Of a dark name or black complexion. So now we know that Stuart came from the word Swart. Let's type in James Stewart and see what comes up. Just be mindful that the word Stuart comes from Swart. But now, be mindful that the King James name was Stuart, and it comes from the word Swart. We've gone over what the word Swart means. It means black. So now, this right here, can you see it on the screen, Hakeem?
Sir. It's now coming, yeah. Should I read, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. James Stewart is the name shared by several kings of England and Scotland.
And it says James Stewart is the name shared by several kings of England and Scotland. And we know the word Stuart comes from swart, which means black. So why does the word mean black? Why does Stuart mean black? And I'm looking at a white man on my screen right now. Something ain't adding up, man.
Right.
Either all this archaeology is lies, or either whoever put this on Wikipedia is a liar, man, and they painted over the faces of black people, man. And that's what they've done. They've painted over the faces of black people. Now let's read the word Stuart again. It says there's another old word used by the Anglo-Saxons to denote black or brown black. The word swart. The personal name Stuart and Stuart may have been derived from this word and may have originally denoted people of a dark, brown, or black complexion. Some names of this kind are mentioned in the Domesday Record of Buckinghamshire and Lincolnshire. These may be of Scandinavian origin, for the ekname or nickname Svarti is found in the Northern sagas. Halfdan, the black, was the name of a king of Norway who died in 863. So listen, man. There's black kings all over Europe during the Dark Ages, man. Let's see if we can get some more. So now this is more names. It says, may have been the people who have left the Anglo-Saxon name Blackman Berg, which occurs in one of the charters, Blackmanstone and the Kentish coast, and Blackmanstone and the Dorset coast, as late as the time of the Domesday Survey. We meet with records of people apparently named after their dark complexions. So this was a man that was doing research, and he wanted to know why people's names was what it is, and now he's finding out these people's names was named after their dark complexions. So it was named after their dark complexions in Buckinghamshire, Blackmen, Swartiness, and others are mentioned in Sussex. One named Black in Suffolk, Blackmanus, and Swartingus, and others at Lincoln. The invasion of the coast of the British Isles by Vikings. So now it lets you know they was invaded, and now there was some people called hold on. Now it says black people came to Dublin in 852. We are told that 8 ships came, arrived, and fought against the Dub Gentry for 3 days. And it says they had a settlement close to Dublin. Listen, man. The people during them dark ages was black people, man. All of them. Hold on, there's something else that I wanted to get. Hold on. So now let's get what happened to King James the First, because King James the First was beheaded. So let's just type in King James the First. So lucky not. Hold on. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm just going to Wikipedia. All right, so now we're on Wikipedia. We're just going to go find. We're going to skip down to. Hold on, let me just scroll down to. The death of King Charles I. Obviously, King Charles I, obviously, it was Protestant. He tried to marry a Catholic woman. England didn't receive it well. And then from there was just conflict with the government. And obviously, they killed King Charles for treason. But hold on, let me get his death. So there was a civil war in England, which was led by Oliver Cromwell. Hold on, let me see if we can go down to. Yeah, hold on. So now let's go to King Charles's execution. So imagine they executed the king, man. They executed a black man, King Charles I. All right, let me know if you can read that from the screen, Hakayan.
Hello, sir.
Oh, Christ.
Cancer. Charles' execution was scheduled for Tuesday, the 30th of January, 1649. Two of his children remained in England under the control of the
parliamentarians,
Elizabeth and Henry. They were permitted to visit him on the 29th of January, and he bade them a tearful farewell. You might have to move up a little bit. Yeah. The next morning, he called for 2 shirts to prevent the cold weather causing any noticeable shivers that the crowd could have mistaken for fear.
So now he was to be executed, and he called for 2. He called for 2 jumpers, man, so they couldn't see the shivers, because they would have mistook it for fear. But he was due to be executed on in what, January, so it would have been cold, man. Would have been winter, so he didn't want people to think he was shivering because of fear. He didn't want them to see, so he asked for 2 jumpers. Go ahead.
Qadon Khan, that the crowd could have mistaken for fear. The season is so sharp and probably may make me shake, which some observers may imagine proceeds from fear. I would have no such imputation.
So he's saying, it's basically saying, I ain't scared, it's just cold, so give me an extra jumper. Go ahead.
Qadon Khan, he walked under guard from St. James's Palace, where he had been confined, to the Palace of Whitehall, where an execution scaffold had been erected in front of the banqueting house. Charles was separated from spectators by large ranks of soldiers, and his last speech reached only those with him on the scaffold. He blamed his fate on his failure to prevent the execution of his loyal servant, Strafford.
Hold on, let me just scroll down to the main part. Yeah, go ahead. About 2 p.m., go ahead.
About 2 p.m., Charles put his head on the block after saying a prayer and signaled the executioner when he was ready by stretching out his hand.
So now this was a black king that they executed, Charles I. Oliver Cromwell had him beheaded. Go ahead. This is once presses started to somewhat get back on their feet. This is when there was, getting back up out of the dust. Right before, obviously after this, Charles II got the throne back. And then after that, Press has been on the throne ever since. So after this, England became a republic for 10 years, meaning they had no monarch. They was just ruled by governments and stuff. Oliver Cromwell had all the privileges of a king, but it was never officially the king. So once Oliver Cromwell died, the people wanted a monarch back. And who was next in line? Charles II. So they put Charles II on the throne. And then after Charles II, James VII, he was Catholic. They said, we ain't having that. So, and the band is line from ruling. And the Jacobites, they started to fight back because why? The British started to stand on their feet. And this is them coming out of the Dark Ages. Once they started to come back, this is once they started to come back into power. Black kings started to die. Black people started to be deported and shipped off. But read on.
Karan Khan. He was then beheaded in one clean stroke.
He was beheaded in one clean stroke, man. Go ahead.
According to the Observer, Philip Henry, a moan as I've never heard before and desire I may never hear again rose from the assembled crowd, some of whom then dipped their handkerchiefs in the king's blood as a memento.
All right, hold on. Let me scroll down. So now it got bit. Go ahead.
The executioner was masked and disguised.
So now the executioner was masked and disguised. So now, once Oliver Cromwell died, they came back into power. And what did Charles II do? He dug up Oliver Cromwell's body, man, and chopped his head off. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Obviously, Oliver Cromwell did what? Oliver Cromwell killed his father. So once he came to power, they dug up Oliver Cromwell's body and they cut his head off and they left it on the pole. I believe if you go to the Tower of London, Oliver Cromwell's head is still inside some cabinet. But obviously, I don't believe you can take pictures of that part. Hold on, let me see if I can. Hold on. Yeah, so now they killed Charles I. Once Charles II came into power, man, this is what Charles II did. It says King Charles II returned from exile. His new parliament in January 1661 ordered disinterment of the elder Cromwell's body from Westminster Abbey, as well as those of John Bradshaw and Henry Ireton for a posthumous execution. So they was dead already, and King Charles, because they killed his father, he wanted to execute them, man, even though they was already dead. It says the three bodies were left hanging from morning till 4 in the afternoon before being cut down and beheaded. The heads were then placed on 20-foot, 6.1 meter poles and displayed on the roof of Westminster Hall. Listen, man, there's so much history in England that you don't even know about, man. Them heads is in I believe they're in the Tower of London right now. It says Cromwell's head remained there until at least 1684, although no firm evidence has been established for the head's whereabouts from 1684 to 1710. Tradition says that on a stormy night in the late 1680s, it was blown off from the top of Westminster Hall, thrown to the ground, and picked up by a sentry who carried it home. After its disappearance from Westminster, it was in the hands of various private collectors and museums until the 25th of March 1960, when it was buried at Sydney Sussex College in Cambridge. Or it's in Cambridge. One of their heads is in, I know one of their heads is in one of them towers somewhere. The symbolic value of the head changed over time. Originally, it was displayed on a pole as an act of revenge by the monarchy and a warning to all who saw it. But by the 18th century, it had become a historical curiosity and a relic that has long been admired, reviled, and dismissed as a fake. So some people say it's fake, some people say it's real. We'll never know. So it says an archaeological analysis was carried out to test the identity after the emergency of a rival claimant to be the true head of Oliver Cromwell. Inconclusive tests culminated in a detailed scientific study, which concluded Geoffrey Moran, which concluded that there was a moral certainty that the head was Oliver Cromwell's based on the study of the head and other evidence. So they're saying that is really the head. So when Oliver Cromwell was in power, once he killed, hold on. So now, when Oliver Cromwell was in power, he started to deport people, and the Jacobites, they was considered the rebels Why? Because they was fighting to get James VII on the throne or to get King Charles II back on the throne. So now here, it says an exact list and description of 150 rebel prisoners shipped at Liverpool on board the veteran John Ricky Master for the Leeward Islands, which were taken near Antigua the 28th of June, last by the Diamond Privateer, commanded and carried into Martinico. So now, this is a list of some of the people that were shipped abroad from England to the Caribbean. It says Robert Adam, and it remarks, it says it was brown, smooth-faced, black-curled hair, strong-made. There's another man, Dougal Campbell. It says it was brown, complex, well-made. Here, there's the next one, Andrew Edwards, black and was strong. Here it says Alex Goodbrand, he was brown skin. It says John Grant, he was black. It says Josh Hincliffe, black, pock-picketed. Pock-picketed means he had like smallpox or whatever. There's something along them lines. David Joyner, brown and he was strong. John Kennedy, he was black and well-made. We can keep going. Now, that's letting you know some of the people that Oliver Cromwell and them shipped abroad. Now, here's the next part in the book. It says, there was an Edinburgh writer, George Hume, age 30, marked as a black man. So this is the next man who was shipped abroad. They shipped this man abroad also. It says, there was an Edinburgh writer, George Hume, age 30, marked as a black man, whose color would no doubt suit the West Indies. And they wrote this in the book, man. This book is called the Transportations and stuff. And this was the transportations of where they shipped the slaves. Well, they shipped the Jacobite rebels, man. And from there, they shipped them from Scotland, Ireland, and England, man. And then they ended up in places like Barbados, Martinique, Jamaica. They ended up in Barbados before they went to Jamaica. And so when people tell you all the slaves and whatnot came from West Africa, that's not true. Some of them came from Europe also, man. A ton of them came from Europe. A ton of them also ended up in America. Because why? England had colonies in America. England had 13 colonies in America, man. And that's why America is called New York, which is named after York. Obviously, we have a York in England. In America, they have a New York because New York is named after York in England, man. In America, they have a Maryland, which is named after, I believe Mary was either the Queen of France who married the Scottish king. Hold on, let me find out what. Now, Maryland in America is named after. Give me 1 second. There you go. She was named after, I believe, what's his name now? She was named after King Charles's wife. She was a Catholic. Her name was Henrietta, but she preferred to be called Mary. And also, his grandma was called Mary Queen of Scots. That was his grandma's name. She preferred to be called Mary. And then what did they do? They named Maryland after her, man. So you have Maryland in America. It's named after Henrietta, a Catholic woman. So all these cities you see is named after what? Is named after people that existed. Anyway, with that, we up on the time. Clap it up. We're gonna do the security announcements. We'll finish up next week. Just over there.
Right. This is the ISUPK security announcements. Where the ISUPK started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to show themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to our brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18 and verse 21. Malachi chapter 3 verses 8 to 10 means tenth in Hebrew. Mashara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering from priest. Not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations.
The Feast of First Fruits, May 29th. So that's the end of this month, May 29th. It lands on the bank holiday Monday. Make sure you come on down to that, man.
Or Akim and Akov and check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a tutor in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, headband, and scarf. You know what I'm saying? Amajim Shabbat, Amajim Barak, Yahweh Shem,
Yahweh Shem Shabbat Kafam.
that's his music.
For what again, Hakian? We'll be here tomorrow. We'll
Yep.
be here again tomorrow with Officer Crawford. All right, Shalom, Lord of Christ Israel.
Shalom, Lord in Christ, sir.